In today's video, we will be discussing how I lost 20 pounds with the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. For the majority of 2023, I weighed around 205 pounds and I really wasn't happy with how I looked. I was starting to not fit into the clothes I already owned and I just generally felt unhealthy. In 2016, when I graduated high school, I weighed roughly 175 pounds. In grade 12, I was pretty consistent on going to the gym as I had gym class every day and I was pretty much running every day as well. It wasn't until after I graduated high school that I stopped working out over the summer and came back to college feeling rusty from the gym. During my college tenure, I wasn't working out as much as I want to, nor was I working out as much as I did in high school. Also, throughout the years, I started forming really bad eating habits, especially leading up towards 2020 when the pandemic hit. It wasn't until the pandemic, when we all went into lockdown, I started Ubering fast food pretty much every day and getting used to eating whatever I want whenever I wanted. Also, during that time, I started working this 9 to 5 job that I really wasn't happy with, and that also affected my mood when it came to eating. Every day after my shift, I would order fast food on top of already the bad eating habits I already had because I resorted to stress eating. That definitely didn't help because that just made my habits even worse and harder to break when it came to eating and eating healthier. For the longest time, I already knew about the keto and the ketogenic diet. It's just that I never really educated myself properly, nor did I take the time to plan things out when it came to having this type of diet. In September of 2023, I stumbled across the YouTube channel Dr. Berg and his YouTube videos about the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. With all those videos that he provided, I was able to just binge on those videos and watch as much as I could and just learn as much as I could about the ketogenic diet and how to implement it in my lifestyle. So it wasn't until I found out about Dr. Berg that I started losing weight properly. And I really want to thank Dr. Berg and his videos and his knowledge for helping me lose this weight that I've been struggling with for quite a while. I've tried many times keto and always failed and made many mistakes during keto, but because of Dr. Berg, I was able to actually learn how to do the ketogenic diet properly. So let's start with how I lost the weight. Right off the bat, I just ended up replacing all my meals with high proteins and high saturated fat meals, such as steak with ghee, chicken with ghee, scrambled eggs with butter, avocado and salmon.
Just wanted to mention real quick that I'm currently 178 pounds, and I just want to mention how I went from 205 pounds to 178 pounds through how I explained it in this video.
I also toned down my eating habits from eating 3 to 5 meals a day to eating 1 to 2 meals a day. There are even times where I would fast for 3 days and just eat one meal a day while taking supplements, obviously. And I noticed results pretty fast. I kept my meals really simple. I just had high proteins, as I mentioned, such as steak and chicken, eggs, with high saturated fats, avocados, ghee, and butter, as well as walking a lot. I currently work a job where I'm required to walk pretty much 8 hours a day, and I'm getting about 15K to 20K steps a day. Now, this is pretty much overkill. You just need at least 2 hours of fast paced walking, but since I work at a job that requires me to walk, I'm already walking to begin with. And getting proper sleep as well really helps with the process of burning fat. So let's now talk about how to slowly get into the ketogenic diet for beginners and for people that can't really jump into it cold turkey, and why you shouldn't jump into it cold turkey and why you should progressively make your way into the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. The reason why it's called the keto diet is because obviously it's putting your body into ketosis, which is using your body fat as energy, which is how you lose the body fat. So when you're having meals with high proteins and high saturated fat and combining that with intermittent fasting, you will produce a lot of ketones, which again will burn away the fat, as well as eliminating carbs and sugar, not to mention, because in a ketogenic diet, consuming carbs and sugar will stop your body from producing the ketones. And any ketones that you do have, once you consume the carbs and sugar, those ketones will go away. So if you're someone like me who is used to eating 3 meals or even more, 3 to 5 meals a day, start by slowly replacing one of those meals with a high protein and high saturated fat meal. Do this for 1 week and slowly start reducing the amount of meals you eat. And if you're eating foods with high fats and high proteins, you should start feeling more full, thus having you eat less meals. So once you get to the point where you're having 3 to 2 meals a day, again, start reducing the amount of meals you have to 1 to 2 meals a day, to the point where I was at, where I could just have 1 meal a day or even no meal a day and fast for 3 days. Having a high saturated fat, high protein diet with no carbs, no sugar will really help you stay full when you're not eating, which will inevitably help fix your eating habits if you're someone like me again, who is used to eating whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, and having at least 3 to 5 meals a day. For me, I started noticing results when I started fasting for 3 days and combining the fasting with the ketogenic diet, eating high fat and high protein meals, as that combination really will skyrocket the production of ketones and the burning of fat of your body. My heaviest that I weighed was 205 pounds, and that was a little bit after Thanksgiving, which was, at least in Canada, in the middle of October up until maybe a week before Christmas. I noticed that I lost a good 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And I saw those results pretty fast because, again, I was combining fasting, intermittent fasting as well, with the ketogenic diet and just doing things properly. I took a couple of week break of the diet during Christmas, obviously because Christmas dinners and everyone's baking goods and all that good stuff. But after that, I went back to having a strict ketogenic diet and implementing fasting with this type of diet. I think I briefly mentioned this before, but fasting is very difficult to do, don't get me wrong, but it really helps when you're in a ketogenic state, consuming high fats, high amount of proteins, because consuming those type of foods helps you stay full longer. And it really helps when you haven't eaten in 3 days and you don't even feel hungry because you're in full keto. So let's talk about the specific meals I would have when I would be eating 1 meal a day or 1 meal every other 3 days. One thing I really like to whip up, which was super easy, was that I got one avocado. I put that in a bowl. I put some salt. I got a can of organic salmon and just mixed that up all together and added a little bit of mustard, whatever tastes great that doesn't have high sugars and high carbs. And that was 1 meal for me. That had a lot of fat from both the avocado and the salmon, and it just tasted great. Another dish that you can prepare, which is really great and easy, is scrambled eggs and sauteed mushrooms with spinach. Super easy. You just saute the mushrooms and spinach for a couple minutes, throw in the eggs, put in some salt, scramble it up, and there you go. And another straightforward dish that I would make would be getting something like steak or chicken thighs, and just simply searing it on a pan using ghee. When you're searing steak or chicken on a pan, it's best to use ghee because it has high amounts of fat, but with the temperature being so high, you're going to end up burning the butter and it's just not going to taste as good as ghee does. Essentially, you can use ghee to cook in high temperatures, whereas butter is good for something like scrambled eggs where you're just cooking it enough to get it cooked. A mistake that I made before with keto was that because of my eating habits, I was so used to eating, even though I would be eating something with high saturated fats and proteins, I would still feel hungry simply because of my eating habits. I was used to constantly eating, and as soon as I felt any hunger, I needed something in my stomach. So having it where you have, let's say, just 2 meals with high fats and high proteins and not snacking in between, even though if you're hungry and you don't snack in between, you have to ignore the hunger and you build this good eating habit which allows you to fast longer and maintain this diet longer. and therefore reach the results that you want. I keep emphasizing fasting and intermittent fasting, and it's because once you start practicing the act of fasting, it'll be easier to have those 1 meals a day or 1 to 2 meals a day. But again, if you're someone like me before who is used to eating 3 to 5 meals, going down to 2 to 3 meals or even 3 to 5 meals by having a keto, it's going to be difficult if you're used to eating in between, which doesn't help you in your weight loss journey. What really helped with this diet was the meals that I just mentioned, learning that I can just simply whip up something really fast and not have to worry about constantly making something that's keto, as well as combining that with fasting to eliminate the hunger in between the meals as well. I don't quite remember the science behind this, but an exercise like walking, obviously cardio like running is very important, but an exercise like walking where you're still moving but not at an intense speed and you're doing it for a long time will help your body produce hormones that help eliminate the body fat. So combining that on top of the diet that I was already doing, which is again why I saw results so fast. Like I said, I recommend getting at least 2 hours of fast paced walking. You don't need 15 to 20,000 steps a day. It's just I happen to work a job where I'm walking. So, yeah. I'm not saying not to do other cardio as well. Doing cardio such as running and biking will help as well. It's just that because I'm walking so much, that created the hormone that helped burn the fat. So combining that with the diet plus cardio plus working out, you will see results tremendously fast. Now, this is something that I learned because of the Dr. Berg videos and something I never considered: your liver, especially when you have a liver that has fat around it. Now, it's commonly known that having a fatty liver is due to alcohol, but having a poor diet, consuming carbs and sugars all the time, junk food, even unhealthy fats, will have your liver be surrounded by fat, which gives you that gut look, your protruding stomach. Now, the thing I learned is that when fasting and eating cleaner, your liver will slowly start to get rid of the fat around it, which again will help you lose the weight and will help you lose the protruding stomach, beer belly, gut image. There are also supplements that help your liver, obviously, such as milk thistle and choline. I recommend Googling that or checking on YouTube on Dr. Berg's videos because that's how I learned about it. And it's very, very useful. Another thing that I lacked knowledge of for the ketogenic diet was staying hydrated and maintaining a proper sleep schedule. When I first started the ketogenic diet, to avoid being hungry, I would consume a lot of water to the point where I was constantly going to the washroom multiple times a day. Now, the issue with that is because I'm drinking so much water, I'm essentially flushing out all the electrolytes in my body. And when you're fasting, that's not a good thing to do because when you're fasting, you need to stay hydrated and have a balance of water and your electrolytes, especially since you're not consuming foods that have the electrolytes. What I did was I purchased electrolytes online. Funny enough, it was actually Dr. Berg's electrolytes that I purchased. I know I'm mentioning him a lot, but he really did help me in this journey. So yeah, I did purchase his electrolytes, and they do help. They really help me stay hydrated when I'm feeling really thirsty and I have those electrolytes. I feel really satisfied and feel, back to being focused and sharp. Obviously, when you're not fasting, but still intermittent fasting, but when you're not fasting for multiple days and you're consuming foods, you should be consuming foods that are high in salt, in the good type of salt, not the iodized cheap salt that you find at the grocery store. Always go for the pink Himalayan salt, or I have this one salt that I use. I'll put it on the screen. I forgot the name. It's called real salt or something. It's a from an agency in Utah where there's no pollution and it's just very high quality salt. Very, very great tasting. You can tell the difference between that and the cheap McDonald's salt that you can find at the grocery store. Now, having a really good sleep schedule is also essential for losing weight. And I believe it doesn't matter if you're doing the ketogenic diet or not, having a good sleep schedule will affect your body weight. It would either make you gain more weight or help you lose weight. If you're constantly tired, you're not going to be able to have the mental fortitude to make the right decisions, to keep a healthy diet and make good eating habits. I personally struggle with sleep. I'm not the type of person that can fall asleep easily, nor do I want to. I always find myself staying up late on my phone or playing video games. And neither am I the type of guy who can wake up early in time for school or for work. But I found that when I started doing fasting and intermittent fasting, waking up early with an empty stomach really, really helped. It helped me stay awake. Yes, I was still tired in the morning, but it really helped me stay awake and not fall back asleep, which was the issue. I would fall back asleep. So in general, just having a good sleeping schedule, falling asleep early, and waking up early really helps. And overall, it's just good to be having that type of schedule. You can wake up early and get things done and go to bed and not be feeling like crap the next day. You feel really energized and sharp. Again, when you boil all this down, the ketogenic diet, fasting, going to bed early, all that stuff, it's all a matter of building good habits. I didn't just wake up one day and started fasting for 3 days or waking up early. It all happens slowly and gradually. That's what you got to do with anything requiring discipline. You got to start from the bottom and slowly build your way to the top. So, to summarize what I did with the ketogenic diet, started replacing my meals with healthier ones, high fats and high proteins. Slowly stopped consuming so many meals. So instead of having 3 to 5 meals, 1 to 2 meals, and then eventually one meal, eventually fasting for 3 days. Forcing myself to have better sleep, stopped going on my phone right before bed, um, purposely waking up early, especially on my days off where I can easily just sleep in, just wake up early for the sake of it and just start being productive. Again, walking, because I have a job that requires walking, but still, all that stuff requires good habit building and discipline. If you have the mindset of going into this cold turkey and jumping straight in, it's good if you somehow manage to do it by miracle, but 99% you're gonna relapse and fall back and start from ground zero. It happens to me sometimes. I'm still doing a ketogenic diet. Sometimes I'll mess up and have a meal because I give into my cravings. But it's just a matter of maintaining this mindset of getting through each day, achieving the goal that you want. Don't don't view it as a way of day 50 of this of on the ketogenic diet, or that if you miss one day of the ketogenic diet, oh, then all my gains will be gone. For example, if I'm a 1 week on keto and I say, oh, if I accidentally, not accidentally, but if I give in to my cravings and have junk food, I'm gonna lose all my gains. With that, the only thing is, yes, I'll lose my ketones, but I'm not gonna gain all the weight back that I lost. Not if I keep eating horribly, but if it's just one day and I slip up, it's okay. It's just a matter of having the consistency of doing these good habits every day. That was the mistake I used to make. I again was used to eating so much food, and then when I wanted to do the keto, I would go and buy a chicken breast and eat that. And then I would eat it, and then I would still feel hungry afterwards, and I couldn't handle not eating food because again, I didn't have the good habits of fasting. I didn't have the good habits of eating healthy foods. So I kept going in this vicious circle of doing keto and not getting any results. And if anything, it was 2 steps forwards and 5 steps backs. Like I would try to do these good habits and then I just end up gaining more weight because I ended up just eating crappier foods each time and not getting anywhere, essentially. It wasn't until I started learning properly about keto and start viewing this in a different way where you can't jump in head first. You got to start slowly. You got to start again, like I literally just said, slowly start replacing your meals, slowly start exercising, and just doing these good habits, replacing your bad habits with good habits. So that's it for this video. I thank you very much if you made it to the end. Please consider subscribing and give a like on this video. Also, comment down below. Let's have a discussion and let's talk. Thank you for watching.